Well, brothers, absolutely. As you know, brothers, I do get rather excited, and I am particularly excited to have as our special guest today my friend, Dr. Liz Isenring. Liz, welcome to Saving Brothers.
Thank you so much, Phil. My absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, Liz, it wasn't that long ago. Gosh, how quickly life changes. You and I were having breakfast together at Darling Harbour up in Sydney. And then the world since then, they're in lockdown. The world's completely gone upside down in New South Wales. But today, I wanted to have a chat about nutrition. And I thought, look, a really good place to start is the brothers don't know you. You're a resident coach with Saving Brothers. You're also a global superstar in wellness, internationally regarded. You've done so much. And I thought, why don't you, for a start, share a bit about who Dr. Liz Isenring is, your background. You're wearing a lot of hats it's hard to get time with you. So tell us a bit about Dr. Liz Isenring and what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Phil, and welcome everyone. Excited to be chatting with you. And as you know, I'm absolutely honoured to be an ambassador and a resident coach for Saving Brothers. So a little bit about me. I'm a dietitian and a nutritionist with a PhD. So I've been working in the field for over 2 decades now. And up until a couple of years ago, I was the professor and head of program at Bond University here on the Gold Coast for our nutrition and dietetics program, and basically training the next generation of nutrition leaders. And I've also spent a lot of time in research, particularly nutrition to help people with cancer get through their cancer treatment better with less side effects, and also helping to reduce the recurrence of any sort of symptoms and problems. So that, really, I mean, basically I'm a nerd, a nerd, a nutrition nerd, love my science, and, probably would have been quite happy continuing in that role, except I guess I had, a bit of an awakening, which can happen to people. I had a few things all happen at once. And one of the big ones was, unfortunately, that I had 2 friends diagnosed with cancer. And so here I am sort of researching all in this area and doing a lot of publishing and feeling very proud of all that research work. However, no one spoke to my friends. Both of them had different types of cancers, different types of treatments, and no one spoke to them at all about nutrition. So I had kind of one of those, what is life all about? I've spent 20 years, working in this area, and getting lots of pat on the back from all our scientific achievements and publications and things, but yet it actually wasn't helping the everyday person. And so, so there's that really kind of shook me. And I think, maybe if I was in a better place, I would have just kind of thought, oh, well, that sucks, but let's continue on. But because I, midlife, and I was also quite stressed and not looking after my own health and well-being, it really was one of those sort of awakening moments where I really started to re-question everything. And so basically I thought, oh, well, stuff this. I'm going to try and be part of the solution, not the problem. And so hence I started LINC Nutrition, which is my online nutrition and wellness business. And really it's to provide a link from where people are now to their ideal version of health for them. And really it's about providing good nutrition and good wellness that's in all the scientific papers, but it tends to take sometimes up to 15, 16 years from when something's been published to when, it comes into the hospitals or the medical system. And I don't have the patience for that. My friends didn't have the patience for that. And I know no one really does. If you have a friend or a loved one or yourself impacted by a serious condition. So I talk about cancer because that's kind of my area of expertise. But obviously it's anything impacted by nutrition. So that's it. That's how LINC Nutrition was born, really about trying to get that science and the evidence to the everyday person so that they can benefit from it now.
And I think, Liz, often, as you said, perhaps it was like a bit of an epiphany. We have those moments in our lives where an adversity, something challenges us, and they are those moments where we're really tested, and it's like often we're struggling ourselves. As you said, you were stressed, you weren't yourself looking after your own health.
Yeah.
And it's very easy, I think, when you're in a corporate world and under a lot of pressure to neglect yourself. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably evident of a lot of brothers, a lot of men
Yes.
in particular.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you only, I know from our conversations, you've published some, what is it, 150 odd scientific.
You know what? It's up to 160 now, actually. So I need to update that, but we're doing well. We're doing well. Yes, a lot.
You did you ever sleep, Liz? I mean, really, you were just.
Hey, I did sleep, and I had an amazing team. But I will tell you that certainly at times, like a lot of our brothers in all areas of life, I lived on coffee during the day, and I had a bit of alcohol at night to help unwind. So it wasn't actually ideal. And obviously we can do that for bits and pieces, but high periods of stress, not looking after myself, it's not a great long-term solution.
No, you can get away with it for a little while, and I think eventually it does catch up with you. Most definitely.
It does. And yeah, absolutely. And a lot of challenges at the moment, obviously with lockdown and everyone impacted. So I think it's really important that we talk about that. And also, from a nutrition and health point of view, there's actually a lot of things that we can do to help improve things. And I know a lot of people are sort of struggling at the moment. So it's good to talk about it. Get some ideas.
I think it's really important. And it's one of the key things we talk about at Saving Brothers, Liz, as you know, as an ambassador, that men need to come out of their cave. They need to talk about things rather than talk about it in their own head, but not do anything about it, and find outlets to process things. So, and go out and get collaboration around things that they aren't necessarily confident in. And I think nutrition is probably one of those. Now, you've written a book. So we will get to those important things around COVID and gut health and immune systems. But I wanted to talk, you've one of your books, so Dream It, Do It, a framework for turning your dreams into reality.
Yeah.
What's that one about, Liz?
Look, it's a good old classic sort of professional, personal development book, which I share. So it's co-written with Pat Mesiti, who's quite well known in sort of, the whole mindset, wealth and personal development space. And really I put my flavour on it in terms of the nutrition aspect, coming from a busy parent aspect, and just trying to pull everything together. And I guess also sharing the experiences of working with people with serious and chronic conditions over the years. So it really talks about a lot of that mindset shift and practical frameworks that we can have to help in terms of decision making and take little actions. Because, if anyone else can identify with this, I know also that a lot of, our brothers like to put on the stoic face and, say everything's all okay. Yeah, it's all okay.
I was like that, Liz.
Yeah,
I know better now.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's how we're brought up, and it can work for a while, but it'll get to a level that it's not great. And I guess from my point of view, where I see things coming undone is often around serious health diagnosis or mental health, challenges, etc. And so I think and a lot of people who are used to sort of holding it all in and very good, or either all or nothing. So I guess what I share is that it's those little 1% improvements, taking a small little action every day, and that the progress is actually in the process. And I was one of those. So I'm as you can probably gather by the publications and whatever, I'm pretty goal orientated. Like I like to achieve things and I like to tick things off. And in terms of the area of self-care and health, that can be challenging, because I'm one of those ones that would want to go hardcore on a diet or whatever for 3 days, be completely unrealistic, and then flip back the other way. And I share that because, man, like so many people are. So there you go.
I did that. And so, extremes.
Yeah, exactly. It is extremes. And you know what? There's
not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. That's right. It's not sustainable. And in short term, it can be very useful for smashing out goals and things. But long term, it's not a good idea for mental, physical, and spiritual relationship health, or however we want to define it. And so for me, and I share in the book Dream It, Do It, it's about different frameworks. It's how to make decisions, and it's how to just take little ridiculously tiny actions, like deep breathing for a couple of minutes just to help reset the nervous system, just to sit out in the sun for a little bit, with a journal and just reflect what you want to do. Of course, I throw in quite a few nutrition tips because, you know, that's what I love to do. And then I also talk. So for me, you'll hear me talk about the 3 M's of health, of my health philosophy. So mindset, which is very much what this book is about, menu, which is all about nutrition, which I love talking about, and movement, which is the exercise component. But I'm also a big believer of enjoyable movement. So fun stuff that you really like just to get the body going. And I have lots of debates with all my exercise guru colleagues because they're like, oh, yeah, that's all right, but you need to, you know, you need to train, you need to push it. And I have retrained my brain to appreciate that. And I agree, for strength and cardio, at least a couple of times a week is very important. But once again, for me, who is one of those all or nothing people, and a lot of people are, just getting used to moving for enjoyment, as opposed to thinking if you're not going hardcore in the gym for an hour and a half, there's no point doing it. So it's just balance, getting it back, and just getting in tune a little bit more with the body.
I think that's the thing. When you said you're a bit like, I think very similar to me, Liz, in the past, all or nothing. And then we absolutely go hard and we forget that we're not in our 20s anymore.
Sure.
And then we injure ourselves. So then we're in the physio, we're injured, we're spending money. And really, what did we achieve? And that's, for me, myself, I've been back working out with a friend. His daughter's an exercise scientist. So it's just glutes and core work, and really just taking it very easy, and deadlifts and some bench press and a few exercises. But we started with very light weight to wake the muscles up again and start to engage and activate the muscles.
Exactly. And so often, it was with me and a lot of my clients as well, we become so sort of deconditioned and out of shape without realizing it. And even, you know, I chat to the guys in my nutrition clinic. Do you exercise? Oh, yeah, I used to play a bit of footy, you know, whatever. Oh, that's awesome. And then, you know, you find out it was when they were 18 and they're 50.
Exactly.
So,
that doesn't quite count anymore.
Well,
I think us blokes, we play in our heads.
It's exactly, I hear it all the time. So it's just, it's the image, but time goes by, and knowing that if we're not moving the body regularly, that we do become deconditioned, and allowing ourselves time for that to happen, particularly even things, you know, around our joint stabilizing muscles and our tendons and all that. Going in hardcore when we haven't exercised for a long time is a recipe for injury. And then we get all those steps back. So I'm happy to hear you're working with the exercise scientists, and I encourage, you know, anyone who is starting to do some exercise after not doing some for a while to work out with the support system with a health professional, because you're not only getting the support and the accountability, but you should be doing it in a safe and sustainable way. Yeah,
I think the thing, as she had said to me, Phil, you're here, let's say we started or maybe 6 weeks ago, you want to be able to say in December you're still able to continually work out, rather than having to have had a couple of breaks because you're recovering from an injury.
Yeah. And completely agree. And I completely agree. And I think it works in so beautifully with both mindset, menu, and movement. And I think it's the same. Instead of going hardcore, only keeping it up for a few weeks and then not doing anything for months and then going back again, little easy fun stuff every day. And the amazing thing, it adds up. And after, you know, it's that the power of consistency, as they say, and that it's fun. You kind of get this exponential curve because the little things you lay in place in the foundation, you get this tremendous payoff. Over time. It's like, I liken it to, back, if anyone can remember, back to the 1 cent and the 2 cent days or whatever. And, you'd collect all your money for whatever, lollies, bus fare. But, you'd just put in 1 cent in a jar. And then after a few months, you'd count it and you actually had a decent amount. And I think it's a similar thing. We need to, with both our mindset and our nutrition and our exercise, little things, put a little bit of money in the jar, because it's amazing how much it does add up over time.
Yeah, definitely those deposits into your health. And as you said, I love the word you use, fun. If we keep it fun, we're more likely to want to continue to do it. And as you know, when we create a fun habit, I really look forward to it now. And the thought of getting back into doing exercise, even though I walk every day, and I was a consistent runner in the past and very active, but it's very easy to fall off the treadmill. And once you start getting into those bad habits again, Liz, it can be difficult to get back on the treadmill. A lot's going on with health right now, I think, with the world. And a lot of people, I reckon, Liz, I've talked to, and I'm sure in your, as a clinician and nutritionist, that people are struggling with low energy. So tell me why you think nutrition plays such a significant role when it comes to, say, energy and performance.
Absolutely. I'll start off with my car analogy because I think that always works well. And, you know, how many of us want a sports car or a high-performance vehicle? You know, I certainly know I wouldn't mind a bit of a Ferrari or a Tesla or something like that. But I think we've got to remind ourselves that we actually do have one. It's this. So we've got our amazing body, and we've got one for life. So just like if you had a, you know, $250,000 sports car, you would look after it. You would fill it with premium fuel. You're not going to fill it with cheap crap. And I think we need to think about that with our nutrition as being the fuel for our high-performance vehicle, which is our car. And, you know, it's a little bit more complicated because obviously we eat for enjoyment and it's very social as well. And I absolutely agree with that. And I'm a big foodie, so it's very important to me. So I'm all about the 80-20, you know, trying to have good balance 80% of the time so that when we catch up for breakfast or I catch up with some friends for a wine or whatever, that I absolutely can enjoy that as well. But it's laying that good foundation. And so but I think we forget we're surrounded by all this modern processed food. And unfortunately, that is energy zapping, ironically, because it's loaded with calories. But the term is ultra processed, which means that because of all the processing, so a classic example is, white flour. We actually extract all the nutrient, the fiber and all the goodies out of it. And in some cases, we then actually add it all back in again, or bits of it in at the end, so that it can get a nice little health star rating. But that's another topic. We'll come back to that. But you know, anything that we're sort of buying from the shops that isn't found in nature has been processed to some degree. And the problem with that is that we haven't evolved to eat Big Macs and nuggets. We've evolved, to eat fruits and veggies and, good protein sources and things that are found in nature. So we often get a very rapid hit of carbohydrates. And because they don't have all the fiber that's naturally found in fruit and veggies, for example, we often get a big hit. What's our body do? It releases a lot of insulin, which is then basically takes the sugar out of the blood to be used. But the problem is we're having all these dips. And so we're having all these, you hear people talk about the sugar high or whatever, and then the big crash. And, people craving sugars or looking for an energy hit in the afternoon.
That was me, Liz.
Yeah, okay.
That was
but the
me.
interesting thing, yeah, okay. But then did you find the interesting thing is if you start then adopting these healthy habits, looking after your gut health and improving your nutrition, the amazing thing is that all then starts to sort of even out. Did you find that? Did you get rid of the cravings,
definitely.
or is it still an issue? Yeah.
So, as you know Catherine Nixon. I'm working with Catherine as my sleep coach and changing my what I'm eating significantly. And I've got an eating plan, and I've got lots of greens, and I know exactly what I'm having for breakfast every day, and my snacks and my meals, and there's greens every day. And you're right. I was that guy that could sit down after work and I'd have coffees during the day, and then it always was a strong cappuccino, and then might have a couple of long blacks, plenty of water though, Liz. And then by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. You're right. Insulin, my blood sugar's up and down. It was like a roller coaster.
Yes,
and there was nothing for me to be doing work on Saving Brothers or my other business in property. I might grab a bottle of wine. Quite easy to have that glass went down well. The second one went, and before you know it, I want to wind down and watch the news. I've drained a bottle of wine. There's a block of chocolate, and it's a family block. So that would go as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have those cravings anymore. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I don't have that. That's beautiful.
The key thing, and a couple of points as you discuss that, and thank you for sharing, because you know what, so many people will be able to identify with that. And so there's a couple of things. Yeah, absolutely. The spike of the caffeine and processed foods, up and down with the insulin. And then, of course, alcohol, which is basically, gets rid of those inhibitions. And so they've actually done interesting research studies to show why people eat poorly with alcohol. It's actually not just or gain weight with alcohol. It's not just because of the calories that's actually in alcohol, which is actually pretty high. It's because they then get, a bit too relaxed and go crazy with their eating. And then that can often then trigger other things like, big amount of chocolate or the kebabs or whatever it might be.
Uber
And then
Eats.
Oh, exactly. Oh my gosh, Uber Eats. And whereas if we actually feed our body with the right fuel, with what it has been designed, we've got this high performance vehicle, we've been designed to eat certain things. We give the nutrients that our body needs, then we're actually in tip-top shape in terms of energy. And so I talk quite a lot about gut health and how gut health is actually a key strategy for improving our immune system, which is very topical at the moment. But of course, the relationship between food and mood, which I think is good. And we might have a bit of a chat about that, because I'm not sure that, our brothers are too aware of that. And the interesting thing is it goes both ways. So what we think definitely can have an influence on what we feel like and what we want to eat. But the amazing thing, and this is how you would have got rid of your cravings, is that by eating the right stuff, improving our gut health, it actually can improve our mood, improve our sleep, get rid of food cravings, and even help with things like mild to moderate anxiety and depression. So it's incredibly powerful, and we've got the science to show that. So I think it's really important that we just kind of share these messages and let people know about it, that they, if they're having a hard time and whatever, that well, first of all, there's support and help out there. But while medication might play a role, don't automatically think that you've got to jump on it straight away. I would always suggest looking at your lifestyle, look at what's going on. We often talk about the nature pill, like actually just spend 5 minutes outside, bit of sun, bit of fresh air, de-stress. Mindset, clean up your diet, get the body moving. And once again, research hat on, we've actually got very strong evidence that having a good, diet and doing the exercise is actually as effective, and in some cases more effective, but don't tell the drug companies that, than some of our antidepressants. So, and I'm not knocking medication, it does play a role and it can be very important for some people. But I do have a concern with that being straight away the answer without looking at your habits and let's look what else is going on in your life.
Well, I agree. I've heard, and number 2 on the Keep 5 Alive list, where's the camera? There we go. Is exercise 30 minutes 5 times a week, and the research that I've been advised is that can potentially replace one antidepressant tablet per day if you do that exercise. Just a comment by one of the chaps in the group. He said, "Food equals mood for me." I was on Fodmap.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about that? That's great. And thank you
Sure.
for sharing that. So, okay, well done, John. And if he wants to expand or talk a little bit on that, do you want me to share my thoughts on that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, cool. So some people may have heard about Fodmaps, others may not have, but it is very big in the gut health world. So Fodmaps stands for, if I can get it right, fructo, oligo, galacto. What are you up to? That's fruct. It's all different little simple sugars, which some people have, particularly if they've got irritable bowel disease, can be very sensitive to. And the tricky things with high FODMAP foods is they're not necessarily in what we think of as unhealthy foods. Because they're just simple sugars, some are healthy foods like fruit and veggies can be high in FODMAPs. So, for example, you might come across people who have problems with either onion or garlic, and not just because of the smell or the taste, but they actually, if you come across where you eat out with someone and they will ask because they're very conscious if there's onion in the sauce because they know that they can react quite badly to that. Some people it's with legumes or chickpeas or various things, and it's just due to the simple sugars. Some people are very sensitive to them, and if they have too much of that, it can lead to gut problems. So certainly the low FODMAP diet is basically just reducing those out of the diet. And for a lot of people, it can be, dramatic. It can improve all the gut pain and diarrhea and irritable bowel stuff. And then for some people, they can reintroduce some of those foods and find sort of a good balance. Some people just always have to be a little bit careful with some of those foods. So that's awesome. That's awesome to share.
Yeah.
Because
Actually, one of the chaps has just mentioned, that's me, Liz, onion and garlic.
Well, there we go. Yeah,
there's a
exactly. It
trigger.
is. Yeah. And I bet he knows it's in everything, isn't it?
Can't get away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the other brothers has mentioned gut-brain axis.
Yes. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's one of my favourite topics. And in fact, we might include a link at somewhere. Because I do have a free download. I have developed the gut map, which is a fun little colourful infographic. In fact, it's got some of the nice Saving Brothers colours because I like those blues as well, as you know. And my inspiration for developing the gut map was to basically take all the science but put it into a fun, easy to use thing that you can just print out, stick on the fridge and have a nice little daily reminder of all the fun things that we need to do. And so the gut-brain axis, thank you very much for mentioning that, is basically this two-way communication between our brain and our gut. And so we've known for a little while that what we think influences our gut. So you think about it, you like to talk, you'd be all right. But, if we put someone on the spot and said, go give a presentation or go take an exam, most people get those butterflies in their stomach and might even need to race off to the toilet. So that's the power of our brain affecting our gut. But what's much newer is that our good gut bacteria, and actually any of our bacteria, they make little chemicals, and these chemicals actually send signals and talk to our brain. And the interesting thing is it can be good signals or it can be not so good signals. So obviously we want to have good gut bacteria so that we send those positive signals to the brain that influence the mood and help us with sleep. Because likewise, if we've got poor gut health or too much of the not so healthy bacteria, it can actually lead to some of those problems we were talking about, like the food cravings. And actually, it's getting a bit sciencey, but I just find this so fascinating. Different types of bacteria. So some bacteria may give you a craving for sugar, and some like fat, and some might actually give you a bit more of a craving for fat. So it's really important. My apologies if you can hear funny noises. I've got my beautiful kids have just come home from school, and they're getting there. Oh, yeah, true.
And I to school, Liz.
Oh, yes, sorry, that's true.
Because we're all in lockdown homeschooling down here in Melbourne.
I hope they are helping themselves to healthy after-school snacks. Yeah, but that's the power of good gut health and nutrition, going both ways. So this is a very hot topic and we're learning more and more about it all the time.
So what do you think some of the things we can do to keep our immune system strong? How can we help the brothers?
Yeah, there is a lot, which is the good news. And so I will focus really from a nutrition and health point of view. I'll talk about my 3 M's, mindset, menu, movement. So from a mindset point of view, smiling actually releases certain chemicals which actually help strengthen the immune system. So it's actually hard to be angry while smiling, and it actually tricks our physiology. So I'm not talking about, putting on a fake smile, putting on a mask. Like we want to encourage people to get support and be connected. But what it does mean is just take a moment out, have a deep breath, maybe even smile, have a bit of a laugh, and just sort of de-stress a little bit, because that sends some nice little happy chemicals to our body that does help strengthen our immune system. So that's kind of a mindset one. Around the menu, the nutrition area, there is quite a lot. So why I talk about gut health for improving immune health, actually about 70% of our immune tissue is located all around our gut. And so improving our gut health is actually a key strategy for strengthening our immune system. And so how do we do that? We do it through lots of greens and veggies, like what you've been having, what we call prebiotics, which are certain fibres that our bacteria love to munch on. And they're all found in things like fruits and veggies and whole grain cereals. Once again, all those wonderful foods that are found in nature. Really important, the probiotics, which are things like you find them naturally in fermented foods like yogurts or the little Yakult drinks or kombucha, pickled
And sorry,
veggies, you
Liz,
know.
that would
Yeah,
be, sorry to interrupt, but that would be
yeah,
natural yogurts, not ones with
sugar.
sugar in
Yeah,
them. So like a
that's a
Greek
good, that
yogurt.
perfect. That is a very good thing to say, because I do forget when I say yogurt, that's what I mean. Whereas a lot of the sugary ones, which to me are more like puddings rather than yogurt, are not so good, because they tend to have, depending how they're made, they do tend to have either a lot of sugar, some chemicals, and some fillers, which are not necessarily great. And they don't have, some have added, they've added it back in again. But really it's the natural yogurts, it's the Greek yogurts. And what I would suggest is having, some fresh fruit or some berries or a little drizzle of honey or something, to still, if you don't like the natural flavour, to still get a bit of sweetness in there. But once again, it's natural. It's not through all the crap we throw in. Pickled veggies, I don't know if anyone likes dill pickles or any of that sort of stuff, but that has some of the good bugs in it as well. And they're basically, it's just good bacteria that we're just ingesting. And good fats, so healthy fats that we know, like the omega-3s found in fish oil and algae and all those sorts of things, are wonderful for gut, immune, and brain health. Hydration, good that you said you're always good with hydration. So that's actually really important, because it keeps our our gut healthy. And we're encouraging all this extra fiber that we have in fruit and veggies. Really important that we have water. And it's funny I'm saying water, because I probably need one of my darlings to get me a glass of water. Excuse me. As we are having our fiber. Does darling want to get me a glass of water? Okay. Sorry, I might let you ask a question as I just recover.
Yeah, just look,
my
one of
little
the things
tickle in my throat.
Yeah, you sort the water out. That's important. One of the things you mentioned before was smiling, and even in relation to depression. I remember I read Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and one of the things he would do is he would get people to go and stand in front of a mirror for up to 10 minutes. I know Tony Robbins talked about this as well, and you just stand there and smile. And you can't, it's very difficult to be down if you're smiling. And I think another really, really simple one is look people in the eye when you see them, when you greet them, and smile, and you will lift their mood. And I always say to the brothers, take the focus off yourself. Think of what you can do to make someone else happy. And when you do that, you'll feel a lot better about yourself. So smiling, Liz, is one of the things I absolutely love. So gut health really is, it's a very interesting topic that I would say the men, the brothers, and me included, by the way, Liz, will get to learn more about what you can bring to educate, because I think we're so busy as men. I think often we're the hunters, not in any way to play down the important roles, because a lot of women are professional women like yourself and run a household and have got kids and write over 160 papers. Thank you. But with some of these things, what I'd love you to talk about is some simple hacks that men can do to turn around their gut health.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So simple things is basically to make sure we eat the rainbow. So make sure you're having, a couple of different coloured veggies a day. And by that, I don't just mean chips, potato, mashed potato. So, potato's okay. You can have some potato, but let's get some greens in there. Let's get some oranges, a bit of red capsicum, whatever, because the colours. Brussels sprouts and what they call the brassicas, which can be quite strong. So not everyone loves them. But what I will say is if you don't like them, try different cooking styles.
I cook them in a pan. My partner taught me how to cook them in a pan, cut them in half, brown them a bit, and then you put them in some asparagus spears and a few other veggies, mushrooms, cut them in half. And what you then do is you pour in some water that you've boiled, and you just basically move them around if you need to reduce the water, put a lid back on them, and they are delicious. And for me to say that, because I was a junk food addict, I can't believe now I really enjoy that stuff. Broccolini as well.
Yeah, broccolini is beautiful. Yeah, and green beans, just that method that you just spoke about, green beans goes really nicely doing that same method as well. And I
Love
agree.
it.
And the interesting thing is it's yummy, it's healthy, but you feed yourself good fuel, just like with that sports car. Once your body gets it and knows how you perform on it, I will guarantee it might take it. Look, some people it's fine straight away, a couple of days, couple of weeks, but I would say at least a couple of weeks, you feel great. And then the interesting thing is you actually then crave and want more veggies as opposed to the KFC and whatever else, which is okay to have now and again, but it's not something that your body should be having all the time. So yeah, eat the rainbow,
Yeah.
different coloured veggies is fabulous. It's a very simple thing, so yeah, that people should be aiming for every day.
So we've got the things that we are aiming for. What are some of the
Yeah.
key foods you would like the brothers to avoid when it comes to their gut health?
Okay, so I will say limit rather than avoid because
Okay. Yep. 80-20 rule. Yep.
Absolutely. It's all about living the lifestyle. Plus, if you're any of those people that don't like being told what to do, as soon as I tell you not to eat this, the first thing you're going to do is go out and eat it. So let's say something that we should have less of or limit or, a sometimes thing. Look, and people probably aren't going to want to hear this, but my top pick at the moment is, what am I going to go for? What I'm trying to think of is whether I go for junk food or alcohol. But look, I do think we've got to be a bit careful with alcohol, and we do have, a big drinking culture in Australia. And for some people, they can manage a few drinks and whatever, and they're okay. But I do think for some people, particularly if they've already got a low mood or whatever, we know alcohol is a depressant. I work in the cancer area. We have very strong evidence that for certain types of cancers, including head and neck and breast cancer, alcohol increases your risk. So I don't want to be the party pooper. I enjoy a drink and whatever else as well. But I do think we should look at ways of being social and managing our stress rather than automatically just going for a drink. And I do know for some, for a lot of people, and I was one of those people, it's just habit. Yes, I want to relax. So it's social. Let's get the alcohol going. And there's different options. So it might just be simply to go to a lower alcohol version, like a lighter version. And I'm not necessarily talking about the Claytons or whatever, the ones that have actually no alcohol in them. There's a lot of good ones now. So, for example, the wines, you can get moderate alcohol wine where they just reduced it a bit and it tastes exactly the same. So, that like you like beers, that can be an option. I think also just play around with other ways, spend more time connecting or playing sport or just, enjoying nature. Trying different sort of drinks, kombuchas, teas, whatever, just, sort of as a substitute. But yeah, so one is, I think, just have a think. Do you really need that drink? Can you alternate it with water? Can you reduce the serve size? Does everyone know that a standard drink of wine, I don't know if you can see my fingers there, but it's, a little bit over 100 mils and it's not much. I've done a few tests with my beautiful wine glasses at home, and I can easily fit in 2, if not 3 standard serves per glass. So every time someone might be thinking, oh, it's okay, it's a glass of wine, it may actually be a lot more than what they're thinking, which can be a problem in terms of calories and also, increasing different disease risks. So anyway, that's alcohol. The other one probably is just automatically looking for the processed or the takeaway foods and knowing that there are really yummy, really healthy alternatives. And so, it may be going for a wrap or a Subway or something rather than automatically going for a burger and fries or deep fried chicken. Maybe it's trying different cuisines and, a bit of sushi or a bit of Thai and choosing wisely rather than automatically going for deep fried things. And I talk about, we've been mentioning a little bit about mood and food, and I sort of talk about the crap cycle where you feel crap, so you eat crap, which is basically junk food, and then as we spoke about before, our gut doesn't like that. It actually makes us feel more crap, and then we just get into that whole negative vicious cycle. Whereas the interesting thing is the opposite is actually true. If we can just break that, just take a breath, just focus us on some nice, nourishing, yummy food. It was super yummy and really healthy. And then we start to feel better. What happens when we feel better? Oh, we want to move more. Maybe we want to be a bit more social. We might even, go out. And, oh, sorry, I've got to be careful with those people in lockdown. We might stick our head out the
teasing
window.
us.
But it's that self-fulfilling thing. You feel better, you move more, you're getting fitter, then you're more motivated to eat. So it's the same thing. You can get in that vicious negative cycle, but same thing. It doesn't take much just to nudge yourself out again. And then feel free. If you're really, sometimes it is hard when you're really stuck in it. So feel free to reach out. That's what Saving Brothers is all about. See a health professional, see the right person. So you get a little bit of support and just nudge yourself back into that positive spin. So I think it's just awareness and just not automatically going for some of the habits that might not be the best habits for where we are now. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think so. And I think, for me, just having that structure, my partner, she's printed out what I need to be eating in consultation with my coach around food. And I know every morning, and we shop on a Sunday now, and I've got lots of veggies, and I know every meal what I'm going to have. One of the brothers has mentioned, and I've used this a lot in the past, and still from time to time use it, is MyFitnessPal, to be able to record what's going on in your body with the labels and learning to read the labels. As he said, so many additives and processed foods out there, which is something that you covered off before, Liz.
Yeah, great suggestion. And I absolutely love that because it fits into that awareness thing as well, and just learning a little bit more what's in food, what you can have. And I think as long as you sort of approach it in a balanced way, it's really useful because you can see, okay, I'm going out to dinner or I'm going to catch up with friends to do this. I'll account for that. But it means that I, really want to focus on the healthy stuff now. And yes, it does also, it can be very scary because, some of these things like the giant muffin from the coffee shop or whatever, which I'm just having a little muffin. Some of those ones are worse than a Big Mac meal. So you've got to be a little bit. So it's very good. And so MyFitnessPal is one of them. There's actually some really good apps, and even just writing. So people who are old school.
Keep a food journal.
Exactly. Keep a food journal because it's that awareness. And when you start writing it down and realizing exactly what it is, and then you can work out the links. So it might be every time you sit down to watch TV, you're associated with whatever, drinking a beer or, eating chips. So once you've worked out those little associations, then you can either substitute it or change your habits as well, which is, once again, really powerful. And for any of those brothers who have gut issues or other sorts of things, you can also then it's like detective work. You can work out what it might be due to.
What could the triggers be?
Absolutely. What are the triggers? Is it because I didn't exercise that day? Is it because I had a big night the night before? Is it because I was super angry and wasn't managing my stress properly? So it's just, I think that awareness can be really, really useful. And apps are good. There's some really good information out there. Mm-hmm.
So as one of our resident coaches, what do you hope to bring to Saving Brothers, Liz? And what courses? I'm sure men will be able to book you one-to-one if they would like, but I believe you've probably also got some online stuff. Tell us more for the brothers that aren't aware of this, what it is that you'll be able to bring to Saving Brothers to help work with some of the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm absolutely thrilled about this and thrilled about the opportunity and to sort of support everyone where needed. So I do have a couple of online programs. So one at the moment is the Path to a Stronger Immune System, which of course is very topical, and it's all about improving gut health to strengthen the immune system and basically keeping you happy and healthy. And it's got some support group. It's a very entry-level price because I just want to help as many people around the world right now. So that's a good one for someone who perhaps doesn't want to spend that much money but wants to get meal plans, all the good information, and a bit of support. We have a nice support Facebook group as well. And then all the way up to the top level, if you want your personalised mindset, exercise, dietitian, body transformation stuff, we have the top tier programs with that as well. And then, of course, I'm very excited that we actually opened up a new clinic this week, the LINC Nutrition Live Better Health Clinics. And once again, we've got a mindset coach within the clinic, so it all fits that mindset menu movement model that we have. And so we do it. So if people, at the moment it's Gold Coast before we spread around the world, but we do telehealth and, Zoom, phone. So actually we do support people all around the world. And it's worth, particularly for those people in Australia, please feel free to get in touch with us, because at some of our clinics, we can go into the Medicare system, which means bulk bill. So if you're on a chronic disease management plan through your GP, no cost to you. So let's do that. The other thing is we're eligible for private health insurance rebates. So it is, now this is a good note for everyone to take, to check your health insurance if you have it, because so often you think about the dentist and your eyes, you might be getting your new glasses, but often people have nutrition cover without even realising it. So you're paying for it, please use it. And yeah, absolutely, you can use it with our services as well. And I think, so my message is, it's all about getting the research and the science to help people now. So anything nutrition related, we'd love to support you. And it's at all different levels, because for us, I absolutely don't want price to be an inhibitor to someone getting some support. So we, right to the level, if you're a top exec, you want your everything personalised and whatever, we've got the very, very intensive top tier personalised programs, but including free and very low high value products as well, because it's all about supporting everyone to be happy and healthy, because absolutely life is better, when we're looking after our health and happiness.
Oh, I think life's a lot better when you feel good about yourself with your health. Liz, at the start I mentioned that you're also one of our Saving Brothers Global Ambassadors. What was it that attracted you to become an ambassador? What drove you from your heart?
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons, and I think at some time, as we shared, I'll probably do a whole session on it. But the big one, I think, is that I can just see what a difference men's health, men's connection, mental, physical health, all of that is just so important. So I have two brothers, and I see my beautiful son. I see some of the challenges, unique challenges to men as well as women. And I'm all about women empowerment. You get me talking about that. I've been a senior female in organisations. I can talk about that forever, but I'm incredibly passionate about health and well-being support for men in a really supportive, results-driven way that is about connection. And it's not about weakness. It's about connection. It's about strength, and it's about knowing when you need a little bit of support and what you can do. So yeah, it's an incredibly important thing for me, because as you can imagine, I do get asked to support a lot of different things, which is amazing. But this is absolutely very close to my heart, and I do just know what a tremendous difference it can make. And whether it be through some of my patients that have very serious medical conditions, and just seeing the benefit of connection, support, looking after mental and physical well-being, can completely transform lives. And in fact, we might need to talk about a few little examples or whatever at some stage, because it is so powerful. It literally changes lives. So I love, as soon as, we spoke about it and you showed me what you and the team are doing, I just thought, this is great. Want to be so thrilled and honoured to be part of it, and also incredibly motivated and passionate to spread the message around the world globally, because we absolutely need it. And it's exciting. And you've got, and hats off to you, Phil. I know it's a team effort, and I know you're wonderful at bringing people together. But the perseverance for getting such a big vision off the ground, I know it's not easy. But you've got some amazing, so we're honoured, myself and my team, we're honoured to be involved, and for me personally to be an ambassador. But you've got some amazing people on board. It's pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool.
I'm really humbled, and I get excited about the quality and caliber of people that the men don't really know yet, and they'll get to know some of these incredible coaches and mentors who are just top of the game. And I just know as we grow and as this community grows, we can really shift the dial on getting men to take better care of themselves. One of our doctors, Dr. Rebecca McGowan, once said, we want to help men reclaim the sovereignty over their health. And that's physical and mental health. And I think the more we can get men coming out and having conversations together, and really just prioritizing themselves, not in a selfish way, but in a caring way, self-care. And we've talked about these sorts of things when we caught up, Liz. When you've got a well-functioning man, I think it's so much better for society. Everybody prospers, their families, their employers, their employees, their children. And I think that's so important. I think it's a great note to finish up on today. We said originally, we'll probably go 35, 40 minutes. We've gone 50. And I'm just so honoured to have you on board, Liz. It's just an absolute delight. And we'll make sure your courses are, I know you're in the process of getting those to us because you've got so many demands, but it's okay. It's all coming, and
it'll be all there and all on the website. And thrilled to put all that in, and encourage people at any stage if they want to connect with me on the socials. I do like that, so feel free to connect.
So I was just going to say, I know you're very active like me on LinkedIn, so Dr. Liz Isenring, look out for Liz and follow her and connect with Liz. She just does some amazing work, and I know you're a heart-centered clinician and nutritionist, a specialist. So, Liz, it's been an honour to have you with me today. I'm sure we're going to have many conversations on our podcast over the coming years, and I'm so excited to have you on the journey and part of the team. To close off, I'd say thanks, Liz, from all the brothers. Don't forget, everyone, there it goes, keep 5 alive. So important. Take care, everyone. Liz, have a great afternoon, and looking forward to catching up again soon. Bye for now, everyone.
Thanks.